In the sprawling, heartless city, where ambition casts long shadows and wealth creates towering walls, two worlds were about to collide in the most unexpected way. This is the story of Clara, a woman whose hands were calloused from a lifetime of cleaning up after others, but whose heart remained incredibly soft.
Oh.
And it's the story of a tiny, discarded life that would change everything. Clara's day started before the sun, in a cramped apartment that smelled of bleach and hope. She was a maid, a ghost in the grand homes of the city's elite. Polishing silver and scrubbing floors, her presence as overlooked as the dust she wiped away. Her own dreams had been packed away long ago, replaced by the relentless need to survive. Every morning, she'd pass the same alleyway, a grim shortcut filled with the city's refuse. It was a place people hurried past, averting their eyes. But one cold morning, a sound pierced the usual city hum, a faint, desperate cry. Clara paused, her heart skipping a beat. It was a sound she knew, a sound from a life she once imagined for herself. Following the cry, she looked into a large industrial dumpster. And there, nestled amongst cardboard boxes and discarded newspapers, was a baby. A tiny infant, wrapped in a thin, dirty blanket, her face red from crying in the bitter cold. For a moment, Clara froze. This wasn't her world. This wasn't her problem. She had her own burdens, her own struggles. But looking at that small, helpless face, she saw not a problem, but a person. A soul discarded like trash. Without a second thought, she reached in and carefully lifted the baby into her arms. The crying subsided into a soft whimper as the baby felt the warmth of her embrace. Clara held her close, a fierce protective instinct surging through her. She named her Grace, for that's what she felt she'd been given in that moment. Clara took Grace home, to her tiny apartment that suddenly felt like a palace. She used her meager savings to buy formula, diapers, and a small crib. She bathed her, fed her, and sang her lullabies her own mother had sung to her. For the first time in years, Clara's apartment was filled not with silence, but with the gurgles and coos of a happy baby. Grace became her world, her reason for every scrubbed floor, for every long hour worked. Her co-workers at the cleaning agency noticed the change. The exhaustion in Clara's eyes was replaced by a radiant light. They saw her smiling at her phone during breaks, looking at pictures of a beautiful growing baby girl. They didn't know the whole story, only that Clara was a single mother. And they rallied around her, offering hand-me-downs and words of encouragement. Years passed. Grace grew into a bright, inquisitive little girl. She had Clara's kindness and a spark all her own. Their life wasn't easy. Money was always tight. There were nights they ate simple meals of rice and beans, but their home was rich with love. Clara taught Grace to read, to be kind, to see the good in people no matter their station. Grace's world was small, but it was safe and full of laughter. She knew nothing of her origins, only that she had the best mother in the world. Meanwhile, across the city, in a mansion that Clara herself might have cleaned, lived a man named Mr. Thompson. He was a billionaire, a titan of industry, whose name was synonymous with power and success. But his life was a hollow shell. Years ago, his world had shattered. His infant daughter, his only child, had been kidnapped from her nursery. A massive search and a media frenzy had yielded nothing. No ransom note, no trace. The police eventually closed the case, presuming the worst. His wife, consumed by grief, had left him, and the mansion became a silent monument to his loss. He poured himself into his work, building an empire on a foundation of sorrow. He was surrounded by luxury, but utterly alone, haunted by the ghost of a daughter he never got to know. One day, Mr. Thompson's company sponsored a citywide scholarship program for underprivileged children. It was a PR move suggested by his board, a way to soften his ruthless image. He reluctantly agreed to attend the award ceremony at a local community center. He sat in the front row, his face a mask of indifference, listening to speeches and polite applause. Then it was Grace's turn. 10 years old, she had won a special award for an essay she wrote about what family means. She walked onto the stage, her eyes shining with excitement. She spoke about her mother, Clara, her hero. She talked about how love, not money, makes a family rich. Her words were simple, but profound, spoken with a sincerity that captivated the audience. Mr. Thompson, however, wasn't listening to her words. He was staring at her face, at the way she tilted her head. It's the shape of her smile. It's a unique star-shaped birthmark just below her ear. It was a birthmark he knew intimately. The same one his long-lost daughter had. His heart hammered against his ribs. It couldn't be. After all these years, could it possibly be her? As soon as the ceremony ended, he rushed backstage. He found Grace with Clara, who was hugging her daughter with tears of pride in her eyes. "Excuse me," Mr. Thompson said, his voice trembling. "My name is Alistair Thompson, your daughter. She has a birthmark." Clara's heart dropped. She instinctively pulled Grace behind her. The moment she had dreaded for 10 years had arrived. Fear and panic washed over her. "Is this man going to take her baby away?" "What's it to you?" she asked, her voice sharp with defiance. Mr. Thompson saw the fear in her eyes, and he softened his approach. "Please," he said, his own eyes filling with tears. "My daughter was taken from me 10 years ago. She had that same exact birthmark. I just ... I need to know." The story tumbled out of him: the kidnapping, the years of searching, the unending heartbreak. Clara listened, her own tears starting to fall. She looked from this powerful, broken man to the beautiful child hiding behind her. The child she had raised as her own. The truth was undeniable. A DNA test confirmed it. Grace was Anastasia Thompson, the missing billionaire's daughter. The news exploded. Porters camped outside Clara's apartment. Lawyers got involved. The world expected a custody battle, a dramatic clash between the poor maid and the powerful billionaire. But what happened next surprised everyone. Mr. Thompson didn't come with an army of lawyers to snatch his daughter away. He came alone. He went to Clara's small apartment, sat on her worn-out sofa, and looked at the woman who had saved his child. He saw the love in every corner of the room, in the crayon drawings taped to the fridge, in the well-loved storybooks on the shelf. "You didn't just find my daughter," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You saved her. You gave her a life, gave her love, when I couldn't. You were her mother." Clara, expecting a fight, was speechless. She's my everything," she whispered. "I know," Mr. Thompson replied. "And I would never take her away from you. I lost a daughter, but Grace has a mother. I don't want to replace you. I want to be her father. Can we do this together?" And so, an unconventional family was born. Grace, now Anastasia, didn't have to choose. She had 2 homes. She spent weekends in a mansion with a father who doted on her, teaching her to ride horses and sail. But she always came home to the small apartment and the warm embrace of the woman she would always call Mom. Clara's life changed. 2. Mr. Thompson insisted she never had to work another day. He bought her a beautiful house in a safe neighborhood right near his own. He set up a foundation in her name, a charity dedicated to helping at-risk children and single mothers, with Clara as its director. The woman who was once invisible was now a celebrated hero, using her experience to change thousands of lives. The story of the maid and the billionaire wasn't about a fairy tale rescue. It was about how a single act of compassion in a dark alleyway could ripple outwards, mending broken hearts and building bridges between worlds. It showed that family isn't just about blood. It's about love, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bonds we choose to forge. It all started with one woman who, when faced with a discarded life, chose to see a treasure. Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires. See you next time.